even though I live this amazing life, you know, in paradise and with all these amazing people around me, and I have so much fun doing what I'm doing, but I'm so unhappy within myself. Everything externally is worthless if you feel like shit in the inside, you know.
Stay true to that fire in your heart and your soul.
Hello everybody and welcome to Sister Talk with Niki. Today I have my beautiful sister here, and it's Franziska, yeah, from Germany. Yes, welcome. I'm so happy that you're joining this interview today. And I found you through a social media friend, actually. I met him in person in England, and he is a Canberra practitioner as you are, and a business coach, and you are a life coach. And he told me so much about your work, what you're doing for the Amazon, and so I had to look you up on social media, and I think you're a fantastic and most inspiring woman I've seen in a long time. So I wanted you to be on here so we can show the women of the world that everything is possible.
Exactly.
Well,
thank you so much for having me, and I'm very excited to share whatever questions, you know, might be coming up, and to connect with you and your tribe. And you know, for me, like you said, it's all about, you know, leading by example and showing people what really is possible, because I believe there is so much more out there that we don't even dare to think about and dream about, but it's there for all of us, and it's really about time to step into that as well.
Exactly. I really, like you said, it's time for a change in this world. We cannot keep on doing what we are doing right now. People are burning out, getting depressed, and it's time for women like us to step up and show the world that a different way. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I know that you're a life coach. Is that correct?
Yes, like you say, my name is Franziska Freitag. It's a very German name. I don't expect anyone to be able to pronounce it, but yes, I call myself a integration and embodiment coach. And literally that for me means, you know, to help people go through the process of integrating whatever part they want to integrate in their life, may this be after plant medicine or just in life general, and embody the version of who they want to grow into. And also, I'm a retreat facilitator deep within the Amazon, together with an indigenous tribe who lives there, and also the CEO and founder of a nonprofit called Floresta Association that is aiming to protect and support the Amazon and the indigenous people who live there.
Yes, I saw that, and this is what it makes it so interesting, because I saw in your story, I was reading about you a little bit, and you've been traveling a lot. You told something about you had it all, you know, and then something occurred, and then you had to change. You felt that was still something missing. You had it all. You ticked everything off, and here you were not completely happy yet. And the way you then got out of it, I want to hear all about. But I like the combination that you used the whole Amazon story, and that's why that's so fascinating to me. So tell us a little about what happened. Why did you first of all chose to travel and work in 4 different places, and then the whole lifestyle is very interesting. Why you didn't stay in Germany and get a 9-to-5 job?
I know, I still ask myself that question. Thank you for asking. You know, that is a very long story. Cut in a very short perspective is, you know, for me, I grew up with a very spiritual mom. So already, you know, I was very connected with this kind of path from an early age, but also did a lot of detours around it, you know. But from a very young age, for me, what was most important for me was to find my purpose in life. I remember when I was 9 years old, I sat in the car with my mom, growing up in a very small town in Germany, you know, very conservative, very traditional. And I was like, Mom, so why are we here? And she's like, well, you know, I believe we all have a purpose. And she said back then that she believed, you know, this journey of life here on this planet is for us to discover what that purpose is for everyone individually. So then I was like, all right, gotta find my purpose. So that kind of was stuck in the back of my head since that moment. And growing up here, you know, with a very traditional family, you know, no one ever left the city or town, I have to say, that I grew up in. They all still live here. You know, so yeah, for me, you know, I didn't think beyond, you know, those walls around this town here. But then I graduated high school, I studied, at a university, and I went to study abroad in Barcelona. And that really, for me, was when my travel bug kicked in. I was like, oh my God, there is a whole world out there that is so much fun and so exciting to discover. And it just would continue and continue. My travel just really started. So then I graduated at one of the best universities in Germany in online marketing and business management. And, you know, all my friends, they were like doing a master degree, doing a trainee, starting their awesome careers. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. You know, I just want to do something that is fulfilling, you know, that's fun and playful, and, you know, explore a little bit. So I moved to Thailand and started to work there for a while, and
How old were you? How old were you when
I was 21 by the time I went to Thailand. Wow. And it started with an internship, and then I had a limited contract in Burma and fell in love with that country as well. And then after, I went back to Thailand and just stayed there, you know, for 1.5 years, and loved the people around me. Really found great family abroad, amazing friends, you know, living in paradise, literally. Being in a relationship, you know, like really, really happy with my life in general, I thought. But then somehow something at some point started to not feel right anymore. And I went more inward, and I could see myself cutting off from people and spending more time with myself, and just really not enjoying my life anymore, you know. And in the back of my head, already thinking that there must be something wrong with me, because I wasn't going down the way all my friends at university that seemed to have such a clear path ahead. You know, that came on top of that, until a point where a very dear friend back then, you know, was having lots of conversations with me about it. And we sat down one day, and he's like, well, you know, Franzi, you're such an amazing person. There's got to be one thing you love about yourself. And I sat in the cafe, and within a second, my eyes were tearing up. You know, I got shaky. I was just so nervous, and I started bursting out crying and crying and crying. And he's like, oh my God, what did I say? And I was like, I don't know. Actually, I don't know one single thing that I loved about myself back then. I couldn't come up with one thing. And that's when Spirit pretty much slapped me at the back of my head, you know, a big wake up call. And I was like, something got to change, because even though I live this amazing life, you know, in paradise and with all these amazing people around me, and I have so much fun doing what I'm doing, but I'm so unhappy within myself. Everything externally is worthless if you feel like shit in the inside, you know. And that literally was paving my path into the self-development. And I moved to Australia, and I did one course, one training, one workshop, and, you know, after another, first and foremost for myself, because I figured, you know, there is a part of me that needs deep healing. So I started to shed layers, you know, the onion that we talk about, one layer after another.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, yeah, started to dive into the plant medicine really deeply already back then. I went to Peru, you know, and started to work with Kambo as well. And I could see how much transforming it is for my life. So then when I, you know, got myself back together as a whole new version of myself, knowing that this process of growing and healing and expanding is ongoing, you know,
yeah,
that's when I realized this is what I love doing most. And I started my own business at 24, in Australia, and was blessed by Spirit, and it blossomed and bloomed and exploded within 3 months. And back then I was catering raw vegan food for plus 100 people events, and was speaking on big stages in Australia about conscious living, conscious eating, you know, spirituality as background for veganism and environmentalism, and how important it is, you know, to protect our planet, and how our diet is a big part of that. So that was that. And then I lost my visa in Australia, and I moved back to Germany for, I think, literally 6 months, until I realized this is not the path I want to go. As much as I love Germany, you know, for me, I know my needs and my values, and I think living your values is the only way to really live a fulfilled life. And one of my highest values is to have the sun kissing my skin. And that's when my soul is thriving, you know, and have a lot of nature around, and amazing soul tribe around, and all these things, which I hadn't in Munich, where I was thinking I was settling. So I went again to another journey into the Amazon, and that's when I connected with the tribe, and, you know, spent a lot of time there, and doing deep inner work and studies and dieting and fasting and ceremonies, you know, and challenging, painful, but so worth it. And that's how I connected with them. And I really deeply connected with their spiritual leader and the chief of the village that I go to. And from there, this beautiful relationship opened up. And now I'll take groups twice a year there, you know, to really do the deep inner work on themselves and learn and heal in the Amazon and the traditional cultural teachings that this amazing tribe has to share. And I take them traveling, and now we run a nonprofit together, you know, and on the side I support people through the coaching, either with or without plant medicine, on their journey, so they can thrive and have this amount of fulfillment and gratitude and love for life, and really get to play on this huge playground that we call Earth, you know, so that we all can live that way, because I think that's the only way it's always meant to be.
I think it's a fascinating story, also because you were quite young when you figured all this out, that you actually were not kind of truly aligned with who you were inside somehow. Do you feel like this is or what I actually see it, especially also in Denmark, that we never really learned actually to quiet down and listen to ourselves or ask ourselves these questions. And so do you see that often also with your clients, that it is like almost mind-blowing, even the question, what do you like? What do you want to experience in this life?
Exactly. Best case, you know, at some point we work out what we don't like, you know. But then we never really ask ourselves, well, what do I want? And then to open the perspectives to that might be an opportunity and a possibility to have that life, because, you know, we never got taught that there is like unlimited possibilities for us to step into. And how are we meant to think that way if we never ever experienced and were able to observe anyone else doing it? And we learn by example, you know. And if our parents, our families, our friends, our teachers, our colleagues, you know, don't live that way, we never think outside the box.
No, exactly.
And so that's what's needed, you know, to really go through these shifts. And that's why I think it's really amazing if there's people out like you and me and all these other coaches, you know, that help people to expand their box and their belief systems, and to get new perspectives and show them like this is possible too. And not just for me, you know, for everyone, if you're willing to put in the work, because that's when you really open the box of Pandora, you know, and all that self-worth stuff. And like, who am I to do this? Why am I any different than anyone else? Why would it work for me? You know, and all that stuff comes up.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, and then it's so big actually. And I for my own journey, when I moved to Bali back then, and I saw this whole new world and the whole new spirituality and healing, and because I was healing from post-traumatic stress disorder and all that stuff, what food can do. And I was just mind blown for a moment. And because I come from a small tiny city like you in Denmark, so it was, you know, it was just this same way of box thinking, you know, like 2 kids, a house, education, and then you just do the same work for 40 years. And I thought there was no other opportunities, and here we go to the world, and it's just so mind-blowing. But you, when you so you went to Australia and you started kind of your business, the first business there, you were quite young. I don't know actually how old you are now. You cannot be more than 24 still. But it was just
like that.
Yeah. But how long is that ago? Because when I started coming home with my spirituality and the new thinking, people were like, what is she talking about? Was it also very new in Australia back then? The whole self-development movement.
It was really new. I think it was way more advanced than in Europe and in Germany. I think where we are at now here, that's where everything was at back then in Australia. You know, everything takes a little bit longer to arrive in Europe as well, I feel like. Not everything, but a few things. So yeah, I had a vision, you know. I knew I was so passionate about this whole concept that I was promoting. So I knew what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how. So that's when I got my first business coach, and he was amazing because he was really bridging, you know, business and spirituality, and it was really about tapping into your purpose, but also finding a way to make a living with it, you know, and sharing your gifts and giving you the structure of how to do it. And without that, no way would have everything happened the way it did, because I was clueless, because this stuff, you know, you don't learn in school. And most likely not in university, you know, because you want to bring the spiritual part, the purpose, you know, the fulfillment into your business as well, which literally then is like an extension of yourself that is carried out in the world. So that's really what helped me back then. And saying that, it's a fair bit ago. I just turned 30 a few weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, I'm already blown away, you know. Best birthday of my life. I feel like life is already so much easier than in my 20s, even though it's just been for a few weeks. But yeah, it's been a journey, and it's been 6 years now that I run my own business, and literally just only had one job before, you know, which was pretty much me working as a freelancer for a company. So I never really worked for a company. I never really experienced corporate life. I just always knew it's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's I think it's clear. I think we know it very quickly, because almost corporate life is almost like school anyway. It's so structured, and you cannot really find your freedom in it. And if you just know in your soul that you kind of want to be movable.
I think everyone is different, you know, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And what I'm feeling now is that companies are really catching up with people's needs, and there is a lot more, you know, but especially with all these startups and really awesome companies, sustainable companies as well, where creativity and self-expression really get supported. You know, and some people, for them, the stability and safety in a environment within a company is exactly what they need. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just felt like my soul can't express itself the way it wanted in a very young age already in a company setting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's true. And you really feel that kind of quickly. And so my question is then, like, what is then your driving force right now? What is the why behind all this you're doing? Because we always have, when we then suddenly figure out this helped me so much, there's you kind of, you know, this big why, this passion, this fire inside. What is it that makes you tick every day and makes you wake up and do it?
That is a great question. I love that question, because it's the most important question, I believe, you know, especially like all with everything, but especially if you're self-employed and you run your own business, your why is the most important bit of the whole thing. Because if your why is not strong enough, on the days where really you don't want to get out of bed and you really don't want to get in front of the computer, if your why is not strong enough, you're not going to get shit done. You know, so for me, every time when I'm like, oh, I don't know, that's when I know I have to reconnect with my why, because that's, like you say, the drive and the motivation, you know, to be excited every morning and jump in front of the computer and be like, all right, let's start, you know, and let's do it. For me, my why, and it's changing and shifting and growing as I grow and, you know, change, but it's always been my connection with source. And I believe that for me is the most important aspect. And really, through all these years of personal development and work on myself, that's for me the most important aspect, that I know that we are here for so much more. Yeah. And that this planet is hurting the way we are right now. I trust that everything is the way it's meant to be. And, you know, with the collective, it's like our little human self. Sometimes we just need to experience pain first before we change and shift. And that's what I see happening on this planet right now. And especially through the work with the plant medicine, but also more and more connecting with myself again, I just came to understand that there is a much bigger reason for me to be here on this planet. And if I die, when I die, I want to feel like I'm fulfilled and I did everything I was able to support this planet and the growth and the love of humanity and the sustainability, so that we as one big human family and consciousness can thrive, you know, and not just survive in our everyday life. And then, of course, for me, I have this really, really deep connection with the Amazon. I believe, you know, we have stewards on this planet for all different areas in nature. You know, there's people who are super passionate about the ocean, and then, you know, there's the forest, and then there's the Amazon, and then there's waste management, you know, in all these areas. So for me, my why is deeply connected with the Amazon, and because I believe these indigenous people who live there, they have so much wisdom, and they've been suppressed for so long. And I believe this is really one key of the whole, if that when we learn to reconnect with nature the way they live with nature, you know, that's when we really reconnect with ourselves and understand that we are part of this whole ecosystem and not just, you know, separate from it. So for me, that's the why. I want to see people thriving. I want to see souls expanding and everyone sharing their lights and their lives, so, you know, that we can live in a world that I can so clearly, when I close my eyes, where every human being is supported, you know, and we live in love and not in fear, and then give that back to our planet, so we live in a symbiosis all together, and, you know, not fighting each other, and out of a fear of never having enough, never being enough, over consuming, and this whole craziness that we are living in right now. So that's my why, literally. And maybe the short form of it, to be blunt and honest about it, because it makes me feel good. The thing that makes me feel best is supporting other people in their journey and giving back to the Amazon. And that, for me, if that's not fulfilled, if I don't live that, I'm not happy. And that literally is the simplest form of my why, because it makes me feel good. And if I feel good, I radiate that out in the world, and I can support more people.
Oh, that is so beautiful said. But yeah, that is the truth, isn't it? It's like when we heal ourselves, when we become authentic to ourselves, and then starting giving to others, then really, then it's the truest form of happiness arising. I really think that. But how do you? The Amazon, you must have been devastated after this big fire and everything.
Yes.
Did anything happen to your kind of area? Now this question is not in the book, but yeah, tell us a little more about the Amazon and the healing, and how did you feel after the fire and all that stuff. That is so interesting. Yeah,
it was devastating. It was so painful. And, you know, I think for me, I know I'm a very empathic person. I feel so much, and that's why I believe my path has been very challenging too, because you know, in a world where you have to function, there is no space for sensitivity and empathic people, rather than making them feel there's something wrong. So for me, I feel so much, and I know many people or women who are listening to this probably might be in a very similar position, and to come to the point, there, you know, to understand that there's nothing.
It needs to be turned again somehow. Oh, yes, please. Oh, yeah.
That should work. Feel it all. You know, you feel it all.
Yeah.
You feel the pain. You feel the frustration. It feels hopeless. It feels devastated. And the first 2 days of it was, I wasn't able to do anything. But then on the third day, I could see the gift in it, and I could see how all of this went viral, and people started to stand up for not just the Amazon, but for the planet and for their own rights, you know. And that's ever since, for me, where I feel like, wow, the change that I've been waiting for, and so many of us have been waiting for and hoping for, is now here, and it's happening, and we all come together and we wake up in such a speed and record that it's incredible and so beautiful to watch. And I feel so grateful and humbled every day to be born at this special time in our world, to be able to witness that and really help, you know, Mother Earth to give birth to this new reality that we are stepping into. And I think it's a blessing that we have to experience while we're here right now.
Well, it's so true, actually. Even our local barista cafe was selling trees after this.
Yeah,
so, because we can say what we want, but especially in Europe, Denmark, and in Germany, we also burned down forests before to make what you call I forgot the word, to make to grow food and all that stuff, to what is farming? To do farming.
Farming, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
yeah, and even in England, we went to a show over there, and there was a woman who was telling about there was just only 4% of the English forest left.
Wow.
So
Yeah. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and yes, the Amazon is burning, and it's heartbreaking. But I also think we need in Europe to start also planting trees again and doing things differently here. But yeah, so now I forgot my thought what I want to ask you. But how did you end up in the Amazon first of all? And that is the question. And then I want to know a little more about, because now we're talking about Cambo and plant medicine, and people are thinking, what? What are the girls talking about? What is it all about, and what can it do for you?
Yes. I've always been in plant medicine in that sense. I remember when I was 6-7 years old, I would go here in the forest, you know, and find herbs and dry them and smudge them and make tinctures, you know, so I always had that connection with the plants. But then plant medicine in the way of talking about ayahuasca, and there's many different forms of plant medicine, but this is, you know, what I'm specializing in, and that's my path. I heard about the first time when I was 19. And I think I was doing a quantum healing certificate course or something like that. And the facilitator, he talked about plant medicine, and that he was going with the group to Mexico to do that. And he would say, you know, you sit in a circle, it's very intense, but you know, at the end of the day, you communicate with a higher spirit in a trance kind of state, and it will share with you your purpose. So remember when I was sharing in the beginning, for me, you know, finding my purpose was my driver for my whole life. I was like, right, that's what I want to do, because, you know, I want to find my purpose. So no matter what it means I have to do, I'll do it. And if that means, you know, I have to go through these very strong processes, I want to do it. But I just graduated high school, and I was broke, and I couldn't afford the flights. And my mom was like, nah, no, you're not going. Like, I'm not paying for your flights. I'm like, okay. And then in Australia, a few years later, I came across it again. And like I said, then, you know, I found my first teacher who I worked with a long time, and really experienced the plant medicine in a very, very intense way, because I felt like I want to experience ayahuasca, but I want the experience to be as real and as authentic and traditional as possible. So I flew to Peru and went there for, I don't know, two or 3 weeks, and had my first experience there with a tribe who works with the medicine there. And looking back at these first 5 ceremonies now, I'm like, I don't even know how I continued this path, because it was so painful. It was so scary. It was so intense, and really, really scary. But also it opened the doors, you know, to my life that I'm experiencing now. So I just continued to work with it, because I could see how supportive they are, and connecting you with your emotions, with your fears, especially with your fears, you know, that I didn't even know were inside of me. And it helped me so much to overcome depression and anxiety and hopelessness and everything that I experienced back then, and really helped me heal in such a quick and intense way that now, you know, that's why a big part of my work is integration coaching. I wish I had back then, to really help people to integrate their experience into their everyday life. Because what these plans do, they open huge doors, you know, but at the end of the day, it's still you who has to walk through the door and the work after. So, you know, the healing and the change is sustainable. And then, yeah, it was a very magical ceremony. Yet a few years later, and it was just really strong voice in my head, and it told me, you know, if you really want to follow your purpose even more, like really, you got to go to the Amazon again, you know, and stay there till February. And I think that was in October. I was like, oh, okay. And I had a trip coming up to Peru again, and I was meant to go to Australia after, clients and everything, flights booked. And I was like, my heart, you know, just busted open. I was like, oh my God, of course I'll do that. And then just magic unfolded, and really spirit showing up in my life in a way I've never experienced before. And I canceled my flights to Australia. I went to Peru, and then got connected with a woman who went to the tribe I work with now. And I stayed there for the retreat for 2 weeks. And then yeah, decided to stay longer till February, how it all ended up at the end. And that's how I met the Pache, the medicine man that I work with now. And, you know, everything else is history. Like I said before, I take groups there now twice a year, and I take them traveling, and we run a nonprofit together, and all this magic. But I think it calls you, you know, might be by a friend telling you about it, might be you find an article on social media about it, and then you slowly you start researching it, you start reading about it, and there's a lot of information about it out there, you know, positive and very negative, and you just got to find out what feels right. And if it calls you, you know, I think you can run away from the calling for a while, but at some point it will catch up with you, and your curiosity will be bigger than the need to run away from it.
Yeah, that is so. Yeah, I'm so, I don't know, excited and proud of you, and I think it's so amazing, and it's such a different healing journey, because then you take the groups out, and then you also are you still, after the process and after the when they take the medicine and they go back home, are you still in contact with them? Do you still like?
Yeah.
Because this can be the hard part because when I've been to Bali, and you know, and you're in your world and everything,
exactly.
and then you come back home, and the bus driver is grumpy, and the families and the kids are screaming, and you kind of need that support still somehow.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I don't think everyone does, but many people do, you know, and that's okay, because you experience such a deep and quick healing within that time, and then, you know, everything changes in an instant within these ceremonies, and then you come home and everything is still the same. You know, your friends are the same, your family is the same, you live in the same place, your job is the same. You're like, oh, and then you start doubting, you know, and you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe that didn't work and I just made it up. But that's what I say, you know, that's when you really have to do the work of applying everything that you learned and healed and released, so that, you know, then from the inside out, your life can change as well.
Yeah, exactly. What do you have, like some good advice for people who was, you know that feeling yourself, you kind of feel lost, that there's something missing, you're not connected. What are they crazy in the coconut, or what advice would you give them, like some practical skills to kind of coming back to your truer self and starting that spiritual journey Mother Earth is needing? Do you have some, like, 2 tips or something, like ideas?
That's a great question, and a very important question. For me, the first thing that comes up is to start asking questions and, you know, communicating with the universe, because as soon as you start asking open-ended questions, the universe will give you the answers to it in whatever form or way, you know. So if you're in a way where you're like, oh my God, like something is changing, somehow my life that yesterday was perfect now doesn't feel right anymore. So once you start asking questions of like, how can I change this? What do I need? You know, and you open up for the answers to be delivered in your life, they will show up automatically already. That for me is a very powerful tool, like just giving it up to grace. You know, every time I'm in a point in my life where I'm like, I have no idea what to do anymore, then I'm like, all right, I just give it up to the universe, to God, to grace, whatever you want to call it, because there is a higher instant that has all the answers that my human self can't see right now, and then they show up right in front of you if you're willing to see them, obviously. So that for me is a very powerful tool, really checking in with yourself. The other part is for sure, you know, connecting with a spiritual guide, you know, or a coach, or talking to someone who's been on that journey already, who can help you find clarity and to tell you that there is nothing wrong with you. You know, you're not going crazy. You're just waking up. And that's a process that so many of us are in right now. That's for sure, you know, definitely a high recommendation if you're going down that journey and you want to deepen that journey as well. And the third recommendation is self-care and me time, you know, with nature. Go out in nature, especially if you're living in a city, you know, go out, sit in nature. And even if you do this for days or weeks and there is nothing happening. You don't hear anything, you don't feel anything, you know, that's when your body starts to recalibrate and to go back in its original state of being relaxed and relaxing the nervous system and the brain and, you know, everything else, and start to meditate. And I think, like, for me, when I first heard about meditation, and I think many people feel that way, it was like this big thing, and I was like, oh my God, I have no idea how to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so that's why I always, when I work with my clients, the first thing is to get them to just sit with themselves and observe. And that for me is one of the strongest form of meditation, because when you sit in stillness in nature with yourself, automatically you actually hear your thoughts that normally, you know, you're so busy and so loud around you that you don't even hear your own thoughts. So then when they come up, you can become the observer and actually get an idea of what's happening inside of you. And, you know, that's about becoming a detective, literally, you know, and going down the rabbit hole and finding out more and more and more what is not working. But like you shared before already, most powerfully ask yourself, well, I know what I don't want because this doesn't feel right now anymore. What do I want? And that's a very powerful question.
Exactly. Wow, that was some amazing tools. that is really great, because I think for many of my women who are following me and following along, is they feel like something is wrong with them. They're crazy in the coconut, or broken, or lost or some way. But I think, or even depressed. And I think instead of us seeing as bad signs, it's actually a health sign, because it's we are becoming aware that this is not working for us any longer.
Exactly.
It's going too quickly, everything. Yeah,
and to fall in love with the process as well, you know, because we always have goals, and once we reach them, we are excited about reaching them for a day or two, and then we're like, now what? So really, most time in our life we spend in the process of achieving something or creating something. So really, you know, there is no rush. It's really about falling in love with the process of becoming who you want to be.
Wow. So now it just popped up a question for me. How did your, because when you say you grew up in a very traditional home and in a small town in Germany, how did your friends and family and the surroundings kind of, how do they deal with you, or do they was that a hard process? For me it has been like, it's like, what is she doing? She's always traveling, and now she's a coach, and what? Have you had like the same experience, or did they just embrace you?
For sure. Very similar. Like I said, my mom always was very open. So, you know, she was very, even though she wouldn't understand what I'm doing, she was supportive of me doing what I want to do. The complete opposite with my dad, you know, when I was like, no, I'm not doing a master degree, I'm not working corporate, you know, he was like, well, what are you going to do? You know, and it took a while. And also being the first person, you know, moving away from this place where the rest of my family, like, they were like, what are you doing? Go to the Amazon. What are you doing in the Amazon? And it's so beyond their imagination. They don't, you know, first they would judge a lot because it's different, it's wrong kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then over the years, they would see me thriving and see how more and more I would become the best version of myself and be so happy and fulfilled. So now it's like, they still don't get what I do, but as long as it makes me happy, you know, they're excited for me. But of course, they'd love me to live here, you know, and see me more and spend more time with them. But also now they are really excited because they get to travel to all these beautiful places on the planet where I live, and get to experience more of the world as well. But it's been challenging. Like, it's for real. If you have to work against, you know, family conditioning and traditional cultural belief system, that stuff is for real, and you gotta need a strong why you're doing what you're doing to go against it, you know.
Do you have a fly coming around there?
I do. She's standing by. Yes. I'm not like waving around.
But it's so true. And that's why I also think it's so important that we do interviews like that, and creating also online tribes in the beginning so we don't feel that we are then crazy, and we can always call that one girlfriend who was also living on the other side of the world saying, oh, you know.
Yes, the support, you know, I think that's what helps us humans thriving, and women in particular, the support, the tribe, you know, the connection, and doesn't have to be next door. It can be, like you said, you know, across the globe, and can be online, as long, you know, as you connect with people who get you and who are like you. It's so important.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so good to hear. I just had my first women's circle here in Denmark, and I can just see how important it is actually to share what's happening in here, because I think we forgot it for too long now, to connect to our sisters, but also connect to Mother Earth.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. What else do I have here? Oh, I want to know just a little more about, because you had a non-profit organization as well. And what is that about, and how is it something we can help with? What is it?
Everyone can help, you know, like spreading the word and creating awareness is the main aspect of so much of the nonprofit work. For me, the nonprofit I founded together with the chief I'm working with is called Floresta Association, and
didn't want to say
it's all about the Amazon, you know, it's all about the forest in the Amazon. And it's there to support the Amazon, but also very much the people who live there, the indigenous people. So right now we are starting, you know, we just founded 6 months ago, so we're at the very beginning. But we are starting with this tribe I go to, that I work with. And we are built on 3 different pillars, which is the environmental aspects of those projects, you know, like waste management, clean water, sustainable energy, the basics. And then we have the pillar of the culture. So we have projects to really help them to share their culture, not just with us, but with themselves and the younger generations, you know, to teach the kids the traditional language, the stories, the songs, support and empower the women. All these different projects. And then the 3rd pillar we are built on is education and awareness. Like I shared before, you know, next week I'm heading to New York to the Rainforest Summit to share with people what is actually happening in the Amazon, and what is it that these indigenous people need to thrive, you know, and share their wisdom and their knowledge with us. So for me, that's why I've shared before as well, you know, when the fires happened, as painful and devastating as it was, and still happening, as beautiful it is to see how we come together, you know, and create awareness with this gift of social media and sharing everything about it. So, you know, every time someone talks about the Amazon, that's already supporting my nonprofit big time, you know, because it becomes conscious in people's lives, and that's really important. And then obviously, of course, there's different projects that you can get involved with. Right now we have one cultural project, which is to build a community center, and the other one is to support the waste management, because that's a big thing in the Amazon. And if you're interested and curious of how to support, I think the easiest way is to check out my website, which is florestaassociation.org, and check and have a read through the projects and reach out. And always, you know, always open for people who are passionate about permaculture, you know, who have a foot in the sustainable energy industry, who are passionate about women's work. Like, all of it, you know, is always appreciated. And financial support, of course, is always a part of it as well, and very needed indeed.
Yeah, for sure. Like money can bring so much good in the right hands, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I will link that all somewhere.
Thank you.
This way. I don't know. Yeah, so they can also, all the sisters out there can find you and all that. Because I think you do so much amazing work, and it's fantastic. I love it so much.
Thank you.
I'm even much more bigger fan of you now after the interview. It's like, wow. I think we're coming soon to an end, but there's a burning question in my mind.
Yes.
Because you told me you just turned 30, and you're living in different places of the world. Do you have because many of my clients, they are not 30 yet, and they think they need to have everything before they turn 30. You know that?
No way.
Again, that house, those kids. Do you have kids?
No.
No. and it's like, do you, and it's just such a pressure on them that they want to have all that before they turn 30. And I kind of, now you're a woman that just turned 30, and I think it's just not important. It's much more important to figure out what is actually your passion, what drives you in life. Or what do you think when you just did the turn now from 20 into your 30s?
You know, I don't think there is a right or wrong. You know, I think we all have different paths. We all have a completely different mission of why we come here. And for some women, you know, becoming a mom and raising children at a young age is the most fulfilling and most beautiful thing they can do. And I think it's super special. For me, it just wasn't the right time yet, because I had to sort out so much shit in my life first, you know, and really just then was burning for, like, I know that's a very bad metaphor, actually, burning for the Amazon. And really just, you know, felt like this strong pull and push, and had, like, for me there was no other way than to follow my path. And now where I feel I have this solid foundation, and I'm very clear on why I'm here, who I am, what I'm meant to do, and I'm doing it, and I love doing it, and I'm very successful in doing it. Now I feel like there is actually the space for me, you know, to go down these new needs that I just haven't had them before. I haven't had the need to become a mom yet. It's just really the last 12 months maybe showing up in my space, you know, and I'm checking in again. So, oh wow, now my values have changed, you know, and now that's something I want to explore and discover. And, you know, after all this traveling and living in a different country every 4 weeks, now I'm actually settling down and I'm having a base, you know, and I'm like creating space and nesting, and can see how this will be part of my life in the future as well. Just before there was not the space. But, you know, no matter which way around you do things, if you have kids first, you know, and then go exploring, or go exploring first and then have kids, I don't think you know, there is no right or wrong really in that matter.
Yeah, and don't stress about it. I think it will come when everything will come at the right point, you know. It's if you're 30 or 35, and I think we are so much more healthier nowadays. It's just our bodies can get pregnant much later in life compared to before, and I think that is a good message to put out. That nothing is wrong and nothing is right, you know. It just comes when it comes. This So to my last question, it's like, there's two things. What would you go back in time and tell your younger self?
Chill out. Chill out. Enjoy your life. That's what I would be, slapping her on both cheeks, you know, and be like, chill the fuck up. You have the most amazing life. You just get to relax, breathe into it, and everything will fall into places in a way you could not even imagine in your wildest dreams right now. You know, but don't forget to fall in love with the process and enjoy life while you're doing the deep, serious work on the side. But, you know, create space for the play, and you will achieve everything in so much less time. That
was the best advice ever. Take it easy, man. Anything else you would love to kind of, cool advice you would tell your younger self? Or do you have like, this is something I really want to share with the world? Anything that just was sitting in your mind while this interview or something?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for spending this time together and getting me on your show. I really, really loved our conversation, and thank you for everything you are doing for all these, you know, amazing women in your vortex, in your circle. I think, you know, that's of such a big value, and it's so important that we come together, and for people like you to do this work. I'm really inspired and really motivated by it too. And, you know, besides, you know, to chill out, what I really think what's really important for people to know and to hear again and again and again, best every day, is to trust. And it's a challenging thing to do, especially when there is still, you know, trauma or whatever we experience in our nervous system and our pain body or wherever in our energy field. But to trust and always go back to this deep feeling of trust, that you're always exactly where you're meant to be, you know, that everything will work out how it's meant to be, that there's always the right people showing up in your life. And the most important part of it, to trust that the universe is always having your back, and the universe is always delivering all the abundance and dreams and desires into your life. And really it's just us who build a wall in front of it so it can't go through. But if you once and for all come to the conclusion that you can trust the universe, creator, God, higher self, spirit, whatever, loving you so much and so unconditionally and always and only having your best interest, then that's a good foundation of from where your life can change and shift.
Oh my God, namaste, sister. That was such a beautiful ending.
Thank you.
I love that. That is so trust. Yeah, that is a good one. Trust that everything will work out and the universe has your back.
Yeah.
So, my sweet sister from Germany, do you have where can we find you if maybe somebody wants to travel with you into the Amazon? So you have the website called...
Yes. So either on my website, which is franziskafreitag.de, and if you add the link, that's much easier for people to write. And the same name, you know, find me on Instagram and Facebook. This is where these days I'm most present and available on. Also where I share a lot of free content, you know, and just really take people on a journey to the Amazon, but also through my everyday life, through my challenges, through my wins, you know, and really connect with awesome human beings. And always love people to come and be part of my tribe and see the world through my eyes as well.
Yeah, cool. We definitely come over there, and like I said, I will link everything below on the side or wherever, how this format is going to be. So yeah, there's nothing more to say, is there? I think we went through it all, and it was it's very inspiring to listen to your story and to hear what you do in the Amazon. And yeah, it just really uplifted me, and I think it will inspire a lot of women out there to maybe take a step out of their secure lives and do something different, and if they have a calling. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck in New York with everything, and see you in somewhere, hopefully in real life. That could be awesome.
Please, that'd be amazing. If you ever come to Mexico, which is where I'm based and live now, you know where to go.
Oh, okay, Mexico. That's cool. Yeah, why not? Is it good food?
Oh, you have no idea.
I'm coming on Monday.
Right.
No, but thank you very much, Franziska, and see you soon.
I'll see you soon. Much love, and thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.